Flawless playing a sweet Lee Sin.
Or Sassen with his crazy pocket picks like mid lane Quinn.
Okay, but that doesn't actually win anything. That's the problem with that, is that it's nice to see, but
well, we won't see Lee Sin.
Yeah, banned away as expected.
Zillion and Poppy. Interesting that the Zillion ban coming against Crown. Very popular ban against KT. And the Alistair. Don't see that ban popping up too much anymore, usually just an early pick.
A lot of strong champions likely to make it through the draft when we actually see champions like Alistair and Poppy banned that were frequently picked up in our last series. Lulu as well, so going to see a different flavor of OPs this time.
Wraith also a player that we don't talk about a lot, but who's been pretty quietly having a strong season. His KDA has been very good, and he's just been solid in terms of his play for this Samsung team. What is with the Braum tonight, Papa Smithy?
Something's in the water, because Braum has just catapulted up the rankings above literally a million amazing picks that are available. All of them skipped over for the Braum with Alistair off the board. Cuvée, how can you go past Lissandra? He's wonderful at this champion. It is a flex pick in nature, but Crown, he won a game unconvincingly on the Lissandra, and Cuvée, excellent at that champion.
Yeah, Crown's laning phase in that game was really bad.
Putrid, I would say.
Yeah, really bad. So, could be the Lissandra Graves. Corki available, but yet to be taken. And the Braum pick may be a part of that, just trying to dissuade the Corki pickup and instead try for something a little bit more all-in. The Lissandra ban is very common against Samsung, and that's a priority pick they will take away quite happily.
Or JJ has also been defaulting to the Lucian. Again, Braum does good things, strong things in that situation. So we'll wait to see if that does dissuade Corki. It'd be insane to see Corki fall through picks and bans, but an outside chance of that happening. So Flawless's drop-off after the Lee Sin has been the big story for SBENU, whose Elise in particular has been very, very poor. He's been caught out a lot. Honestly, he's doing a bit of an Ambition this season, whereas Ambition himself has been rising up in terms of jungle performance.
Still a little hit or miss. You still have those Ambition moments where he's randomly in the river when his lanes don't have pressure and then manages to die. Well, hey, we got the explanation about that Braum first pick, Papa Smithy, and that's because they want to play Ashe.
Interesting. Ashe, another champion that really seems to have sprung back up. Right at the tail end of Champion Summer, we saw the Ashe long after rework. Become a popular pick. Primarily it was Prey playing it. Prey's still playing it, but this time it's SBENU. And there was an interview yesterday with Arrow where he was talking about playing against Ashe and being surprised by her power. Wouldn't reveal who it was they were scrimming against. Might well have been SBENU.
Yeah, well, the Braum pick will deny quite a bit, and this is some crazy pick composition that's coming in from SBENU in this game. You've got the Ahri, the Braum, and the Ashe already. Strong engage and strong single target CC.
But isn't it exciting to see SBENU not playing a poke comp they're inevitably going to opt into 5v5 fights with?
Well, we don't know what they're going to do with this pick composition. Maybe they will opt into 5v5 fights, Papa Smithy.
Well, if they're going to pick first, it's all right. Malphite certainly would be pick city. Oh my goodness, it's Rox Tigers time.
Wow, the all-in is real, and well, this really explains the Braum pick now. They had a trick up their sleeve. They had a composition in mind, and they don't really care about lane matchups, it seems. They're just going to blind pick the whole lot.
Well, this is exactly what the Rox Tigers did in their first game last week to eventual success. Now, they don't have quite the cannon top, but they're going to go with Malphite. This is basically the silver special. Everyone's got a go button. Initiation, someone's going to hit something, and everyone else knows, all right, it's time to go all in.
Well, the Malphite has been seeing a lot of play, particularly in the North American LCS, but a rarity in the Korean scene. Now, we are going to see the LeBlanc, so a lot of mobility between the Ezreal and the LeBlanc. Good disengage with the Trundle Pillar, too. So Samsung trying to play dodge on all of these pick champions here from SBENU Sonicboom, and it'll be tough to avoid absolutely everything when SBENU is throwing the kitchen sink at them.
I mean, Samsung, honestly, SBENU were looking for them to opt into as many AD carries as possible and then pick all the AD carry killers. And look, it's only two, but you can definitely see what they're going for. Very straightforward team comp. It's not quite the Rammus top, but Malphite certainly cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, Soul on the Malphite up against the Lysandra. Much more standard composition, of course, for this meta from Samsung. Crown making that return on the LeBlanc that he did a lot of damage with in their last series against CJ, but Sasin, has to be said, a more challenging mid lane opponent than Sky.
You're right, and it's the Ari versus LeBlanc. Certainly semblance of skill matchup in the mid, so let's see who gets the first move. Will it be Sasin, or will it be Crown, who's, again, having a really good week so far?
Yeah, started off with that 3.5 minute solo kill onto Sky and just kind of snowballed crazily out of control from there in game number 1 versus CJ. See if how fancy the dodging from Samsung can get as we go into game 1 as SBENU versus Samsung.
We'll find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on
Well, first game in our second set of the night, SBENU Sonicboom hunting for that first win of the season. Perhaps it will be against Samsung. Samsung here has a chance to go for third place in the standings. Even though they will both be tied 6-3 if they win with Jin Air, they're only +1 in terms of their game score because of a lot of 0-2 defeats.
6-3 is still enough to leapfrog SK Telecom T1 though, so crazy to see. And again, another sign that Samsung's development this season, adding some experience to the lineup. In fact, about as much experience as you can pack in one member in Ambition. So far, so good. And again, come in heavy favorites in this particular matchup, but SBENU have definitely gone A-tied. There's no pick comp happening, so there's no siege comp happening here. This is pick comp through and through.
Yeah, just they have so many opportunities to pull off these ganks. Wraith is going to find the lane swap here and begin his harassment. But they will be matched, and that means Ezreal going straight into the lane. Wraith has to be really careful with this Braum actually in the Ashe. I guess he's going to get stunned and poked around some more. He reset the Gromp. Wow, that is very annoying.
Actually really smart from Wraith. He saw that the Gromp, if it released one more time, would go back to its original state and heal up. So playing on a knife's edge, but still able to buy some time for Core JJ.
You got the pillar. You're going to be okay. So nice little play there from Wraith for the delay, and that means when everything is said and done, Core JJ, because of that solo experience, actually hits level 2 first. So nice little bonus for this Ezreal that will be in the top side.
Absolutely. Australian meta on display. Bottom lane's in the top.
It's your favorite, right?
It's what I know best. You'd think it would be standard lanes, but no.
It is standard, just inverted.
Indeed.
I'm very curious if SBENU can pull this off. They got to buy some time for Flawless here. We talk about him as a very mechanical player, and he's playing one of the least mechanical junglers now in this Nocturne.
You say pull it off. The one thing I can say is that whenever I see these lower place teams, realistically SBENU, okay, they might have assaulted the top spots, but very quickly we could see this is a team that's going to be in the bottom half of the ladder. Trying to pick execution-heavy comps like these poke comps that can fall behind and never catch up, those are really difficult to pull off, whereas this is a pretty straightforward team comp. You hit one of those abilities, everyone else presses their buttons, you're going to fight. You don't have to worry about timing windows. You can certainly win the game off a mid-game pick. That's what happens when death timers are insane as they are right now. So to me, this is much more straightforward than what they've been drafting previously. And that's what they should do when you're not getting it done is, oh boy.
Here's the all-in again. Sasa going to get chained, and Crown. Once again, a pre-4 minute first blood did have an assist there for Ambition, but man, he's been pulling off these LeBlanc all-ins with balls of steel.
And Sasin really misplaying, not playing to his summoner either. He has summoner spell teleport and was standing so aggressively in lane, invited the all-in. Sure, it required a flash. It was very much some nice skill shots from Crown, but you got to play to your summoner spell. If you don't have a defensive one, you got to hang back.
Well, especially after watching that last series, you got to know that Crown is going to take those risks. So some nice money for him, and this is where it all went wrong for CJ. Crown was just unleashed upon the map, and he was basically like one-shotting Mad Life on Thresh.
That was a 3-hit. That was literally one. That's about a second in the spell rotation, and Mad Life was dead from full, so I know I rewatched that on the VOD. I was like, wait, what? All right, then. He had all the kills. I believe it was 4-0-0 at the time.
Well, a good start. Good start for Crown. Picks up the Fiendish Codex. May have to play a little bit more cautiously now that his flash is not available.
He's also LeBlanc, so probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Also, there's a Nocturne in the jungle, so not too much to worry about. The power farming from Flawless is in full effect, and you know, I like this pick. Ambition has not really been a very counter-jungle heavy player this season, or ever since he was part of the jungle.
I mean, he dies in the enemy jungle a lot.
Yes.
Is that not counter-jungling? What's that called? Suiciding?
Feeding, I believe, is the League of Legends term, Papa Smithy. I think that's the word you're looking for.
Ah, he's a feeding jungler. I'll remember that.
But he's, you know, he's not Peanut. He's not going to get in your face in the early game and make your life difficult if you pick Nocturne. So looks like Flawless is going to get an easy ticket here to level 6.
And let's talk about the synergy that, again, was on display when the Rocks Tigers picked Ashe is Nocturne Ashe. And you might think, okay, an all-in synergy, but the big factor is if you pop that Paranoia, you are not going to see that arrow coming from really any amount of distance. Going to take you out of nowhere. And suddenly, the long stun, potentially 3.5-second stun comes through globally. Nocturne's in your face. One of these other CCs unleashed, and the pick is confirmed. So I like this global Paranoia Enchanted Crystal Arrow comp that first was piloted by the Rocks Tigers and now is being aped by SBENU.
I like that they took the teleport onto the RE2 for the same reason. Just go ahead and commit everyone to one part of the map and try and win an imbalanced team fight.
I feel like this is a trust exercise for SBENU
it
today.
is.
It's like, all right, guys, we're not really winning. We've tried a couple of things. Let's just try the trust exercise of arrow into everything.
I like it. I agree with you. I think this is a nice look for SBENU and something that is more appropriate to their current level of team coordination than, as you said, those execution-heavy siege and poke compositions that really require some good knowledge of how the enemy can flank you and coordination that we haven't really seen them display.
And it's just shot calling, right? How many times have we seen SBENU have Lux, Nidalee, some other poke champions, and then all in on a 4th dragon or a 3rd dragon, or just places where they didn't need to. They didn't pick their engages anywhere near as necessarily as they should have.
Or team fighting when they should be sieging.
Here we go.
And there it starts already. Cuvee, nice E though. Gets out without even having to burn his flash. Saw that one early, and that's 2 important R cooldowns already triggered.
Very long ones, as you mentioned, specifically on the Paranoia. I think it's at 120 now. It was certainly longer. Maybe it's 150. It was over 3. It was 3 minutes or higher at one point, but received a couple of touches in previous patches. Regardless, it's going to be very safe farming. And the big difference between Nocturne and the mode junglers, I mean, mostly I'm talking about the likes of Nidalee Elise, but Graves to some degree falls in this, is that his impact every 2.5 minutes. Oh boy, it's Soul.
Yeah, Soul gonna get caught out right now. Ambition is trying to come in. They do put the damage down, but they can't quite finish off Soul. They did get his flash. So repeat gang possible. Oh no. Crowd. Goodbye. Ignite comes off cooldown. Flash wasn't quite up yet, I don't think, for Sasen, or it may have just come back up. And that will be a kill as Crown lands that part of the chain. Sasen didn't even have a chance to ult there. I'm not actually sure what happened.
I don't really know what's been happening with Sasen recently. The team has moved away from 5th picking him champions on the red side, and he has died in lane a few times in a couple of games in a row. Again, not playing to his summoners. Again, teleports back to mid. It's just not respecting the LeBlanc whatsoever. The Ignite cooldown was back up and deservedly goes down again.
Well, Crown also has been putting on a clinic on LeBlanc's laning phase in the last couple of best of threes. And that he's really justified that pick. They like to pick it early. It doesn't seem to bother them. They did last pick it this time, but they were early picking it against CJ.
And Sassen, it's not building Abyssal. He's sticking with the Morellonomicon. He's certainly not itemizing towards magic resist. Has some magic resist per level or maybe just 4 flat, but regardless. Anytime those chains hit, he's going to take most of his life, if not all of it, in a trade.
Yeah, 20 CS down at under 10 minutes.
Against a guy with a GP10 item.
Oh, well, I think I know how this story ends, Papa Smithy.
It's with Secret dying quickly.
Oh my. Oh my, there's the chain. And, ooh.
From downtown?
Yeah, the fadeaway. Collateral damage doesn't quite finish off Sassen, but Ambition doing a good job of adding that little bit of damage on these mid lane ganks that LeBlanc lacks, and Crown takes not too much damage on that dive. Soul now is going to be here and he's going to walk past each other. Q goes. Ambition is caught out, but that ultimate doesn't do anything. But Flawless is going to try and follow up on it. Cuvée is here too. Ambition gets back under the turret with his flash, and now they have to really worry about Crown. Oh, Flawless. Why are you there right now? He's going to try and make this work, but it just won't. Cuvée has his ultimate up and uses the flash just to make sure Ambition doesn't die, but this is going quite wrong for SBENU.
Flawless so many times this season has gone for that aggressive flash into no vision, where the best case scenario is a 1-for-1. In this case, he flashed late enough that the tether had actually timed out onto Ambition, didn't get the mini stun, which have guaranteed a 1-for-1 no better. Instead just gives up a 0-for-1. It's just not the controlled play that is required at this state, at this level of League of Legends.
Yeah, the lack of coordination too. That Malphite ult went down super early, and they had a lot of time to react to it before the Nocturne ult even came into play. Meanwhile, as we saw, Sassen had just been chunked out in that mid lane, so Crown free to just walk into the river and pursue that. It's not where you want to be making a play on the map right after your mid laner is suffering, but I think they're just getting desperate after a very bad first 10 minutes.
After a very bad first 7 series though as well, Monty, and the sad thing about SBENU is that you looked at their lineup with Flawless and you're like, this is the building blocks of a good team, but the sad thing is that if they keep on this current trajectory, they're going to be the building blocks of talent for many teams, because together they don't seem to be doing much. These guys could disperse. I think some of them might be value adds or at least sub players that could grow into something for other teams, but
Nuclear especially. Nuclear and Sassen are not bad players. Sassen having a hard time of it tonight and not looking like the same caliber last season, but Nuclear has actually been pretty good. And here we go. Crown is going to be the next target. He has to flash. So they get the flash, but they can't really chase down the LeBlanc. They try and abuse the fact that he doesn't have W, but now Cuvée simply going to auto down that turret as he knows exactly where that jungler is, and Ambition is covering him. Soul not able to make that play. He's looking for a TP right now. Decides to wander out of lane, or wander back to lane rather instead.
I think 2-man, Nocturne doesn't really have a lane that he can cleanly get a guaranteed kill on. The best hope was Soul on the Malphite, but we saw the Glacial Path continue and get Cuvée out in the bot lane, but in the mid, charm into the tether, you're just still going to be able to dash or flash away from that. It's low percentage in most lanes. Ganking an Ezreal is frustration in itself. And the point I was trying to make about Nocturne is that he's kind of gated in relevance by 2.5-minute windows. Is the ult up or not? And that's 2.5 minutes where Crown in particular can go as aggressive as he wants, trades under the enemy turret, and knows that he's going to be safe. And even when those ganks have come off, they haven't been successful. So it feels a bit like Nocturne in that regard. Flawless is coming back though.
Wow, and there we go. Arrow going to come in and just nail Crown. They're going to try and follow up. Ambition is here, and Crown on the run. He actually gets out, surprisingly, uses that W. And that is going to be another attempt at a gank. Failed. He was just far enough away to survive that stun. Still, of course, responsible for 2 of his team's kills, and now the invasion is beginning. Flawless is going to be running out of options. Cuvée is here. He's been unleashed on the map after taking out that turret. Big chunk of damage As Flawless has to exit his own jungle, and this will be a blue buff take for Samsung.
Out of nowhere, but not really out of nowhere, but the sum of pressure, 5,000 gold almost, just over 4,000 so far. A lot of that's going to be between the mid laners, 2 kills and 30 CS. Even going to be hitting the Abyssal Scepter faster than the Arias. Close to panic stations for Sarsen. Cuvé's doing his thing up top. Only Nuclear, again, he's the guy who has impressed the most this season. We thought it would be Flawless, we thought it would be Sarsen, but it has been Nuclear. Who can forget his, what was it, 11-0 loss, 11-1 loss? But here comes
Hello,
Cuvé.
and Sarsen has to ult out, but he gets tagged by the ults anyway. Crown will take another kill. Flawless goes in, but that will just be to his death. Now they do pick up the shutdown kill with a TP from Soul, but it's a small consolation, 2 for 1, and Soul is chunked out. He doesn't have any armor items yet, so he's not going to be able to stop this pressure. Core will join up with his jungler and his top laner to take out the mid turret. So Samsung just wrecking SBENU in this game.
No other way to put it. Cuvé actually caught Sarsen mid-charge of the ultimate. From there, it was going to be an academic that another kill will be piled on. And honestly, misery is all that's being piled on to SBENU this game.
Dragon, first of the game. Samsung's will be uncontested. What's nice to see about Samsung, though, is sure, it's been CJ and it's been SBENU in their last couple of best of threes, but we criticized them early for not having a strong start. They came out of the gate super slow, and they would win by some nice team fighting in the late game and some good setups on teleports. But now, with Crown on this LeBlanc, they've been having much more of an effect on the early game out of the laning phase, and their 2 wins against CJ, sure they lost a close game too, but in their 2 wins they were fast games and they were very decisive.
And again, it's Crown. You have to completely credit Crown for that change in the early game because Cuvé's doing Cuvé things. Always wonderful in the teleport, a solid laner, good mechanics. But going from Crown wave clearing on Victor to making assertive solo kills on LeBlanc has completely changed the identity of this lineup.
And ambition, he doesn't even really have to do anything. Crown is just wrecking mid lanes left and right. Another Brazilian prodigy with Winged.
What is it about sending Korean players to Brazil? Maybe Daydream also.
Yeah, maybe Daydream is a god too. That would be interesting.
That's the place that you go to train. Brazil.
They should start importing Brazilian players into Korea then.
BRTT.
It's time for Kami. Kami mid lane.
Well, we've seen double lift in Korea. Maybe it's time for BRTT to come in, confirm skill levels.
Well, Samsung just taking everything on the map at this point. As you can see, pre-20 minutes, Crown is he's got quite a few items. 40 CS advantage, Frost Queen's Claim, needlessly large rod, Abyssal Scepter. Nobody's really going to be able to survive him. Soul has picked up that Banshee's Veil. They're going to try to get core. That is not going to work.
Soul's basically itemized to guarantee backline threat with the Banshee Veil. Obviously good item against both solo laners and to some degree the Ezreal as well, but it's only not the most ideal pickup, especially for a Malphite. Doesn't have any ability to control the lane, no CDR, so no CDR or Sunfire Cape, so kind of at the whim of what Lissandra wants to do with the lane.
Sandra's doing a lot with that lane. Gets the tower kill in the top lane. He's now taken 2 towers against Soul. So the gold lead, pre-20 minutes now, passing the 7,000 mark. Ambition took the Rift Herald, and they're just using the Herald buff and the lack of wave clear on this Malphite to just mercilessly shove in these turrets.
It's so smart, there's nothing he can do. It doesn't have Sunfire, it doesn't have cooldown reduction to get multiple rotations of the E. It's very good play.
Wow, Crown playing really aggressively, mimicking his W. But there's no counterplay right now, and they actually force SBENU back 2v4.
This is sad, Monty.
This is a very sad game to watch, actually.
SBENU even did something interesting in the pick ban, but the Malphite being forced onto magic resist is really, really hurting them because, and that's just, it's the on-the-fly calls that really show the next level of development for Samsung, because it's very smart to just send 2 members, 2 ranged auto attackers, including their jungler, push down the turret, and Malphite is either going to all in with no backup because everyone was in mid, or just watches the turret dies.
Yeah, it's been effective. Their lane assignments have also been good to take out the outer turrets quickly.
Can we be excited about Samsung yet?
They look better and better.
It's that last part. It's actually putting up a strong fight against a top team. If we see a 3-game series for them against...
Hey, they beat Jin-Air.
Sure, and Jin-Air is up there, but I want to see them take a game off SKT, KT, or the Rocks Tigers. And that's kind of my gambit for them. So they can take even one game off 2 of those teams, they could be a real playoff threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, SBENU now attempting to wave clear in the mid lane with their jungler in support. Flawless here has just been relegated to showing up in lanes occasionally and trying to help out where he can. Ambition 2 levels in the advantage in a significant amount of CS.
And let's talk about what having these turrets down means for SBENU's comp. Remember, they want to mask the Ashe ultimate and fly in with Nocturne. With the aggressive lane wards they have in mid, for example, you can see a very advanced lane ward. It's even harder to pull off what should be a pretty straightforward global initiate. So even with this comp that theoretically should pick up a pick out of the darkness at any point, it's going to be a struggle for SBENU to pull it off once more this game if the minion waves keep being pushed up by Samsung.
Well, Samsung also has managed to get deep wards in both sides of the enemy jungle, so they're going to know exactly where SBENU is trying to set this up, and they'll play around it. Ambition and Cube once again, just against this Malphite, has the Cinder now, but it's still going to be a slow process, and they have no shot when it comes to defending that turret.
Panic stations. Well, here we go.
Has to ult out. There's one fewer tool for SBENU on their next engage. Using that Lissandra ultimate right after taking the turret, and they'll be free to play some other part of the map right now. That is a great ward, like you said, Papa Smithy.
Well, it just counters the one thing that SBENU comped for. Again, this duo you see on your screen, launching a guaranteed stun or an opportunistic stun into the Paranoia, but going to be difficult to pull off, and it's hard to see how SBENU gets a foothold in this game. We said the same thing about Afrika in Game 2, and SKT duly obliged with a face check. Going to need something on that level for Samsung to lose the pressure they've spent 22 minutes cultivating.
Even in that game, the SK Telecom was never 10,000 gold ahead this early in the game.
It's true.
So, but as you're saying, SBENU does have that chance, and a face check against this particular composition, that could be truly deadly.
I mean, if everyone's half an item behind, sure, it'll take longer, but the constant CC chain into damage should be enough on the side of SBENU, but we're watching the timer, and as items start piling on, likes of QSS comes through, Magic Resist is piled on. No guarantee then that that one pick comes through, and that's a scary spot for SBENU's comp to be in.
Yeah, it seems crazy to say, but even this early with this kind of advantage, Samsung actually can start attempting to bait the Baron. It will be tough against the Ashe, of course, with the Hawk shot.
Also don't really have a true tank to tank it, so Baron at the moment looks like a difficulty, unless SBENU is completely clueless to it happening. And I guess if you can push, if you take down this inner mid lane turret, anything's possible. Because Malphite has been forced to wave clear so shallow right next to his inhibitor turret. Maybe Samsung are close to Baron sneaking territory.
This is where it gets hard, though, for Samsung. That Hawk shot, okay. Nope. So close.
Samsung keep up the pressure. Everyone's in the mid lane. Don't have any pressure in bot. Cuvée clearing a pink ward.
Threatening the dive right now against SBENU. That would be probably pretty unwise against this composition. They get some nice poke damage down, though, and they have the Ezreal and the Graves here, so a lot of range to work with on the siege.
Banner of Command would be a big item for Samsung. They've actually gone for the locket, but something, a lot of the wave clear, ranged wave clear is magic damage. For now, they're going to try and poke in.
That Trundle Pillar just zoning everybody off. Soul cannot get the flank right there thanks to Wraith's presence on the side.
Arrow is down, so SBENU waiting that cooldown.
Should be up very soon. So Sol manages to get back over to the turret. He wanted to punish them, but Samsung's doing a nice job of splitting anytime that Malphite ult is available.
They do have a pink ward for Nuclear to stand in. Arrows back up.
There we go, and they're going to ult right away. Cube gets caught out by that one. He gets chain CC'd, but there's the Zhonya's Hourglass, so he will stay alive for now. There's the W going to ult himself right afterwards. Kills starting to come in for Samsung. They lose one, but they get the turret, and 3 for their trouble. That was a very nice Lissandra play there from Cube to allow his team to pick up those kills after getting hit by the unstoppable force.
This wasn't enough backup damage to actually really take down Core JJ. He lived on about 40% health and then healed up a little bit after that. Cuvée accepted his fate, but that was with a 3-man stun into self-ult. It was only going to set up more fights, and Assassin's dead.
Yep. 1 Ignite tick at the end of the chain. Gets crowned yet another kill, who has just been going off on the LeBlanc.
He looks like the best mid laner in Champions. This week.
LeBlanc. Yeah, this week. We'll say this week.
I'm certainly not saying that over the course of a season, but what a week from him.
And nobody really even playing LeBlanc. We saw it from Fly and on KT, and that was not a particularly impressive LeBlanc game, even though KT won. But no one else has been prioritizing this champion, and Crown has just been picking up the solo kills with it.
Well, Faker, if I got a champion for you, it's this LeBlanc character. Not sure if you've tried it recently.
I think he's scarred after MSI last year. It's time for him to trot out the LeBlanc, though, I think, again.
I mean, I see him played a lot in solo queues, so those mechanics still on form. Maybe it'll be an IEM special.
Maybe it will be. That would be fun to see. There's a Hawk Shot checking the Baron. True Shot Barrage will not steal the blue buff. Secret isolated a bit right there from the rest of his team. Cube has TP available to him in order to make it back into this fight.
Few worse feelings in League of Legends as a jungler than being Nocturne and being behind. You're building damage, as you can see. You just know that if you launch yourself into the backline, you'll die in 0.5 seconds. So, very little that Flawless can do this game.
Nocturne's a very binary champion. It looks great when you're ahead. Looks absolutely awful if you're this far behind.
He just doesn't peel or do anything, really.
Nope. Well, here's the Baron, Papa Smithy. At 26 minutes, they have decided that it's time to start it. Ambition is relatively tanky with the Sterix Gauge.
Secret smells it.
Still taking a lot of damage. They're going to try and block this off. TP is going to come in. They have to split immediately. Ambition, the only one hit by the Malphite ultimate.
Still
He's got
alive.
that. Yeah, does live through it. There's just not enough damage right now. He is still alive at the back of this fight. Has to flash at the end, but he will survive thanks to the Sterix Gauge. And now Nuclear, he is all alone, and Crown is going to help him take out that kill. Double kill there for Core JJ to clean up the ace in the fight. This may be a bit overly ambitious with the 0 health that they have. Crown is going to be the next man up to tank this Baron. This is going to be close. And Nuclear actually gets a kill onto Wraith.
Baron could have got a Quadra there.
That was a little bit risky, and they do lose one for it.
But look at the power. We talked about the lack of frontline, the double AD targets, but when you have Sterix Gauge and the more Malmortius, look at the amount of shielding. It's a casual 800 shield, and Ambition, remember, gets attack speed, lifesteal, and spell vamp enough to live through the fight. Insane given the focus fire on that pseudo AD carry, but you're seeing the tankiness that Graves builds, and if you can't kill that one person, you're definitely going to get cleaned up, as so is Secret probably.
Yep. True Shot Barrage into a death. Crown will accept the kill from Secret. And in that little fight too, Cuvée did a great job team fighting and zoning people out on that. Lissandra for the double kill. And you'll notice Samsung, they went for the Baron, but you can't stay in there even when you're this far ahead against this SBENU composition. And you'll notice that they just back out, turn and fan into an arc, and that's why Ambition was the only one hit by that Malphite ultimate. And you know, Papa Smithy, this is the reason why we don't... Oh, holy cow!
Well,
wow.
that was a thing.
What happens when you have a 15,000 gold LeBlanc? He is nearly doubling the amount of gold on Sasa in this game.
Not quite a Flame Horizon, sadly.
I don't even know what to call this double gold on a mid laner.
I believe that's called dumpstering.
The Crown Fiesta. It is a big party for Crown this game, and here is the last fight. Soul is caught out, has to ult his way straight back into the fountain to survive, and then flash right afterwards, and that's going to be the end of this game in 29 minutes. An absolutely crushing performance from Samsung.
SBENU, they went for something. I credit them for that, but the moment they fell behind with this Nocturne comp, there were just no inroads to come in, and Crown, again, his week 6 has been unparalleled. By far the best mid laner we've seen this week.
He did more than 4 times as much damage to champions as Sasin did in that game.
I got no words. There's nothing to say. Samsung wiped SBENU all over the floor.
Wow. I had hoped to see something else from that game, but Crown, he gets another solo kill at, well, not a solo kill. He did have, I think, an auto attack from Graves.
Doesn't need much, apparently.
Doesn't need much, but another kill before 4 minutes for first blood, and that gets him rolling. And
okay, I'm doing some math here. Okay, we moved screens, but this is like one of those situations where how many SBENU members does it take to do Crown's damage? The answer's a lot, guys, to be clear.
More than 2. About 3, actually.
Oh, boy.
Well, guys, we're going to come back for Game 2 in this series. Stay tuned.